What's going on, everyone? So, the Lakers coaching staff in 2020 was like genuinely goated. I mean, seriously, it was the Avengers of a coaching staff. So, the Los Angeles Lakers named Jason Kidd, Lionel Hollins, Phil Handy, Miles Simon, Mike Penberthy, Quentin Crawford as assistant coaches on head coach Frank Vogel's staff. It was announced. This was, again, you got to keep in mind, this is back in 2019, 2020. Just want to make that clear for those that didn't catch on. Are Greg St. Jean as player development coach, advanced scouting, Drew Anthrop as head video coordinator, player development coach, and John Pastoric as assistant video coordinator, player development coach. I mean, again, this coaching staff back then was, I mean, this was as good as the roster. Like, seriously, like if you took a, like, hey, what is one of the best coaching staffs ever put? Like, this was just such a great balance with Frank Vogel and his defense and the way he utilized big men with Jason Kidd and his offense. And then you had Lionel Hollins, who, you know, had a nice balance. Phil Handy as a development coach and just, you know, player coach. I mean, everything about this was brilliant. But why am I bringing this up, right? Because the Lakers, they got to create a new coaching staff. And I'm not saying the Lakers need to necessarily put together this like super dream coaching staff, but it would be nice to like have a coaching staff we look at and go, man, like, to what we're talking about, right? Like, just have a nice, deep, like, oh, this coaching staff alone could probably take, you know, Detroit to the conference finals at least. You know what I mean? Like, get us a coaching staff that we can be proud of and excited for. Because I just remember that year in 2019, 2020, how excited just the fan base was at the coaching staff. Not only do we have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but go and put that staff together, and then you just look at the roster, and you're just like, wow, like this roster's incredible, this coaching staff's incredible. It's like, I just want to get back to that, because since then, it's just been all downhill, right? Jason Kidd leaves, Jared Dudley, who Jared Dudley wasn't on the coach staff, but he might as well have been, right? And then, you know, you just saw everything just slowly start to fall apart. And then ultimately, you know, Frank Vogel, he ends up getting fired, and then we go through the whole Darvin Ham thing in the last 2 years, and now he's gone, and it's like, can we just, again, get a nice balance? Whoever it is, right? Whether it's Jason Kidd, JJ Redick, whether it's JJ Redick, and you're putting him alongside, you know, a quality veteran head coach, right? Like, can we just round out? One, you got to bring Phil Handy back, in my opinion, right? Now, I get why they, you know, I wouldn't really say fire him, because they didn't fire him to fire him. Like, the Lakers wanted to keep him and they like him. And they even extended the offer of him potentially coming back. So I'd say more of like, you know, releasing him for an opportunity, right? Because that's what it was, right? Phil Handy, he's a guy that he wants the opportunity to progress, grow, potentially even get a head coaching job at some point. And, you know, the Lakers just, they're not going to hire him as a head coach, right? Because it's just, he's always been a development coach. He's kind of got to go up the rankings. So it gives him an opportunity to go look and maybe see if he can get on someone's coaching staff and kind of learn the ropes, and then move maybe one day into a head coaching position. But if it doesn't work out, well, then, you know, he can come back to the Lakers as a development coach. But I'd love to see just a quality, just assistant to training staff to videographer to, I'd love a coaching staff that we look at and are very proud of, right? Like, because you look at Darvin Ham and you look at Darvin Ham's coaching staff. It wasn't anything that was like, oh man, like they got this guy and they got that guy. And again, it wasn't like just because the Lakers had names that people recognized, right? Because that's always kind of the first thing. It's like, oh, well, they had Jason Kidd. Like, every basketball fan knows Jason Kidd, right? Lionel Hollins, many people are familiar with, right? Frank Vogel. But to me, it's not even that. It's just, it was who they were, right? It wasn't just names on paper. It was, oh, Frank Vogel is looked at as an excellent coach, defensive minded coach, utilizing bigs. You got a guy in Jason Kidd who's, he's had head coaching jobs. He was a head coach in, you basically assembled a bunch of head coaches all as various assistants. And they all had their own skill sets. They all had their own sort of just brain children. Right? Like it was great. And then you pair that with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And to me, it's just like, can we get back to that? Right? Can the Lakers get back to, yes, obviously you need the team and the organization, but can we get a quality coaching staff? I don't care who. Well, I mean, I do care who the head coach is, but you get my point. Like, get JJ Redick, right? Made a video on As It Stands Lakers, and I talked about how I think the Lakers should just go with Jason Kidd, because I just think he has the most upside. I think he checks the most boxes. It's just, can he manage the game from a coaching perspective, right? Which I think he'll be able to. I think he'll be fine. If you want more in-depth and detail, go check out the video on As It Stands Lakers. But, like, okay, say you get JJ Redick as the head coach. Cool, right? You'd have LeBron and Anthony Davis's support, right? It would actually be, especially with LeBron, I think it would be kind of a pairing. It'd be kind of a duo. Like, LeBron would help and kind of be an extension of the Lakers coaching staff, right? But then beyond that, got to go get a veteran head coach, right? You got to go get somebody that, like, you can trust and you can look at and go, oh man, that guy, he's a guy that has the experience that can help kind of guide JJ, right? Like, I would love something like, JJ Redick as the head coach, like Mike Budenholzer as like the, or even Kenny Atkinson as like the assistant. Get like Terry Stott and whoever else, right? Like, just start putting together a new Avengers of coaching staff. I think that would just go such a long way for the Lakers. I think that would really help LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I think that would put them in a position to have more success, right? I think that, you'd get proper utilization. You kind of got the checks and balances, because that was the problem. It was just Darvin Ham rounded out the roster with a bunch of his people, and none of them were able to, or at least from what we know, like, none of them were able to really kind of steer Darvin Ham and call him out and tell him, hey, you're going about this wrong. Where like that 2020 coaching staff, right? I mean, you had, just think of the brain power and the egos that were on the roster. I mean, Rondo and LeBron alone, right? Rondo and LeBron by themselves are smarter than most coaches, right? But you never heard of Pete. They were great. They respected. They listened. Why? Because again, you had multiple guys on that coaching staff, the Lakers and the players, that they respected, and you had a guy in Jason Kidd who could tell LeBron to go, what himself, right? Like, it was such a nice balance. And, you got to imagine Lakers' plan is to try to go get that third star this offseason. So whether it's a Trae Young or a Donovan Mitchell, right? Like, you're going to have, more likely than not, you're going to have egos. You're going to have to figure out chemistry. You're going to have to, position this roster, right? Like, there's going to be a lot that's going to go into this year. Because I do think ultimately the Lakers probably land Trae Young. Again, I have my reservations about it. I have my concerns, my questions, but I just think ultimately that's probably what's going to happen. There's just so much smoke. Usually when there's smoke, there's fire. And it's just like a lot of smoke. You even got like personalities out here saying that like Trae essentially told them personally that he's going to the Lakers. So I just think like there's so much like pointing to Trae going to Lakers. I mean, it's more than I've seen for probably anybody since Anthony Davis, where it was like, no, Anthony Davis is going to the Lakers. No, it's happening. It's not. It's just a matter of when, right? Like, it's kind of where, I mean, we're not fully there yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if at some point it's going to be like, oh, it'll be win. So again, you're going to have all these egos. You're going to have all these players. You're going to have to kind of try to navigate and figure out how do you make LeBron and Trey work, right? Like it's it's just a lot. And I just think you really need the right coaching staff to really make it work. And it's just, again, I want to get it right. I don't want to have to go through this whole process again in like a year or two, and it's like, here we go again, and it's like, no, I don't. Ideally, I'd like to not just get a head coach that's only here for LeBron's tenure, where it's like, oh, LeBron's got 2 more years and that's it, and then we're right back at here 2 years again later. I just get it right. Take some pride, take this process of, finding the proper coaches serious. Obviously, guys that are assistants, if they can move into a head coaching job at some point, sure, like that's going to happen. But hopefully by then you have guys already established and ready to go, and you have your head coach long term. Right? Like let's say it's JJ Redick. Hopefully, by the time the band's ready to break up, he's good, he's ready. He just it doesn't matter who's on the bench with him at that point. But I would take some pride in the coaching staff. But anyway, again, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think the Lakers should? Yes, go make a new Avengers of coaching staff. Do you think no? Like just keep it light. Go get a guy. Don't get too many cooks in the kitchen. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So I enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.